everyone, it's Terry from the Gypsy Magpie, and I'm here today with a junk journal that I've created for the Graphics Fairy. What I decided to make this month was a small traveler's journal with a winter theme. I think I'm going to go ahead and use it for the first couple months of the year and maybe fill it with some black and white photos that I take and a little bit of journaling. Most of the pages have enough room to do a little bit of that, but I've got a lot of her beautiful images sprinkled throughout. What I did was I just kind of browsed on the premium member site, and I'm working today primarily out of two bundles. I'm using heavily the Winter Birds bundle and the Winter Greenery bundle. But as we go through, I'll point out some of the other images I just got off of her regular just Graphics Fairy website. So those were free ones, but if you're on the premium member site, you have the luxury of being able to mix the two. So it gives you, oh my gosh, such a huge variety of images to choose from. You can't go wrong. So I made this traveler's notebook from scratch. I am not a bookbinder. Please don't laugh at the way that I put it together. I have never had any instruction. I love using this little tool where you lay it down on the spine, punch the holes through, and I just used a big needle with some waxed thread, and I'm sure there are absolutely beautiful ways to do it out there. This worked for me, and it's so much fun. My favorite part is punching the holes, and I do like to sew, so that kind of fills that little niche there. What I did was I tried to keep it rather slim. I'm hoping to do 4 seasonal journals like this, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And at the end of the year, I think I'm just gonna make a great big cover and go ahead and put the 4 seasons in it. Seems like it'd be a fun project for me to keep up on, and not a whole lot of maintenance. I love creating a structure. I'm not always so good at maintaining the process, but I can charge myself with taking a dozen photos or so, and no problem to journal inside. So I think I'm going to be able to do this. So on the cover, what I did was I printed out the images, and I sat and I fussy cut for an afternoon and did the inking on the edges and stuff. And what I did was gave myself a nice big pile to work from. I didn't have any kind of a layout plan in mind. I just kind of like to play with the papers and see what happens. So I've got a couple on here that are fussy cut. They're printed in different sizes. You can print with anything that works for you. I tend to print most often on cardstock. I use 110-pound cardstock, but I also sometimes print right onto my copy paper. If it's thin on the copy paper and I'm gluing it down anyway, it doesn't give me any problems at all. The way I made this title block, let's see if I can show this up close. I used one of the what I was calling the freebies off of the regular site, and it was just a really pretty little image, and it said winter, and that was kind of what gave me the idea. Dug through my junk today and found the 2020. I like the look of Ransom, so I'm happy with this. I did a lot of machine stitching throughout the book, which I always think is a lot of fun. So let's open it up and see what's inside. My goal here was to try and keep embellishment to a minimum. That's really difficult for me. I like to add trims, and I like to add layer with chipboard to give it dimension. I'm not able to do that in my traveler notebooks, so it's kind of why they're fun for me to work on, and they're also very challenging because of that. So I'm always trying to learn new techniques and find new ways to embellish that give me the look of texture without adding bulk. So that is where the machine stitching comes in. I just made like a little slide pocket here. Nothing fancy, just, glued a piece of paper along the top, the side, and the bottom. What I've decided to do is I've got 3 bingo cards for the months of January, February, and March. They're large enough. I was able to embellish the front, which was fun, but it gives me one nice big 3.5 by 5 where I can go ahead and get a large photo on the back with some journaling. So if all those fails and I really get lazy, as long as I've got a photo from each month and a story to tell, I should be fine. So this I'll show you. It has machine stitching on it. Again, machine stitching is just something that's so much fun. For my paper, I use an El Cheapo Brother machine that I picked up at Costco years ago. I don't use any kind of fancy thread. I don't use any kind of fancy needle. I'm sure if there are those of you out there that know a lot about stitching on paper, yeah, I'm sure you do beautiful work. I don't sweat it. I don't back stitch. I just snip the threads when I'm done. It is strictly to give me, the fun of sewing. I actually do love to sew. I have sewn since I was about 5 years old. I made my wedding dress. I like to sew that much. So anyway, I've got my January journaling card here. I've got quite a lot of these. I think they're really cute. They're little. It's a PDF in the Winter Birds bundle, and what I did with all of these when I printed them, I backed everything with some paper that I'm going to be able to journal on. I can even get one of the small like Instax photos on here, or I could go ahead and just put a wallet size photo on here and keep the journaling to a minimum, or maybe just put a date on here. That's one of my favorite parts about this. It's got this like a blank label on it. So again, it looks like dimension, but it's just printed, so it saves me the bulk of adding a sticker. I sprinkled a lot of quotes throughout the little notebook. I love quotes. I look for them all the time. Tried to keep things pretty simple. This is just a fussy cut image glued onto the page, glued onto the little flip. I've tried to leave some blank areas where, again, I can add a photo, keeping it very simple. Here's another one of these. It's off of her regular site. And what I did was I went through and I typed into her search bar winter to see what I could come up with. And I was really excited when I found all of these with birds, because I had already decided to use the Winter Birds bundle off the premium site. So it was meant to be. This one is really pretty. It's a gorgeous holly bundle. I went ahead and I used quite a bit of sheet music through here. I tried to pick some paper that wasn't particularly old, because when I fold and crease, a lot of time on the really old paper it tends to crack. So I am, again, trying to leave a lot of blank space where I can add some photos in. If I do end up wanting to journal in here, since it might be a little hard to see my writing, what I do a lot of times is just a real thin, I put a coat of matte medium on to kind of strengthen up the paper, and I do a really thin wash of gesso, and the white just kind of brings the black down just enough where you can journal on top of it, and it's actually very pretty. She is an exception from the bundles today. I pulled this one single image out of the Ballerina Fairies, and I like her. I've used her before. I think she's so cute. And what I did was, oh, there you can see it. I made her a little winter crown out of stars. They're stickers, but still, she's very pretty. She says, discover the beauty of winter. This is from one of the PDFs in the Winter Birds bundle. This one just has a quote. This had a this was a printed scrap of paper that had a real pretty winter tree. So I went ahead and just left it alone. I don't think I'll end up covering that up with anything. This though was kind of fun. The background is that same paper from the other side. It was just, what I did was I just folded the paper in half. So there was part of a tree on here, but in one of the winter bundles, it was probably the winter greenery bundle, had this beautiful tree. So what I did was I just fussy cut along one side and straight cut this and stuck it right down, and I really like the way it gives it some dimension. This is just a dyed coffee filter. I may end up putting a die cut snowflake on it. Wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with that, so I left it. And if you're wondering what my fascination is with snow, I live in the Bay Area in California, and we don't get snow. So to me, snow is this mythical, magical thing. We used to have a cabin up in the Sierras, and we had tons and tons of snow up there, and I miss it terribly. So I'm going to live vicariously through the Graphics Fairy images, I guess. And again, another one of those little bird, I don't know if they were calling cards, but it's got this nice blank spot on here. So it's nice to use for titles. They make really pretty gift tags or place settings, place cards. This was fun. What I did was I fussy cut out 3 little branch bundles out of the winter greenery bundle, and I made like a pocket, I guess. I don't know what to even call this. What I did was, when I glued these down, I made sure to just glue along this edge so that I was able to slide things under here and it would hold them. So these are some more of the birds. Everything has machine stitching on it. Everything's got journaling paper or paper that I can at least see my writing on top of. So I did that throughout this journal. What I did was I did 2 samples so I could kind of show the difference between, this makes a perfectly lovely journaling card. It's got, paper that I can either put a photo or write on, and it's perfect just the way it is. But if you just take a couple extra minutes and you do the stitching, it just, I don't know, it really adds something. I don't worry about my stitches being perfectly straight. That was a real challenge when I first started stitching on paper, because I am used to making garments and piecing quilts. Precision is always important. I realized I liked the look of a little bit looser feel on the paper. So now, I'd have to really, really be crazy crooked for me to throw it away. I keep them. There's never a reason to throw them away. They come out fine every time. So again, no special needle, no special thread. In fact, I've heard people say you have to use certain size needles and always change them off and make sure they're super sharp. It's probably true, but I have to say I change my needles about never. I don't change them until they break. So I don't know. Maybe I've just been lucky with this sewing machine, but it's great for paper. I made a few pockets throughout. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the bundle this came out of, but it has a lot of just blank papers, which I love to just print out stacks of it, and it makes great backgrounds. This one looks like vintage ledger paper, and it's lovely. And it's just copy paper. That's all it is. So I made a pocket. Did some stitching, of course. On the other side, I went ahead and I put another die cut image with a quote. I've got more sheet music here. What I did to make the pocket on this side, I took a tag that I just cut myself out of some pretty embossed paper, and I glued it here and I glued it here, and that way I can slide things in and out. So I did another one of these big bingo cards that I can journal on. It's just got some polka dot on the back. But I don't know, these images with the combo of the greenery and the birds, I'm loving it. If I wasn't so concerned about the thickness, I would have loved to have used some snow text to put snow on everything. What I may end up doing is just some stickles or some kind of mica flakes or something that I can keep real flat, but the snow text would have been lovely. Now, after working on this, I am really excited to do a collage on a chunky canvas where I can actually do that. I can kind of copy this same layout, but go ahead and load it up with snow. This page was a lot of fun. I fussy cut out the eggs, and what I did was I stitched them down just on one side so that I can still slide things underneath. And I like doing that. These again are more cards. I may not end up putting anything at all on these, but they're darn cute. On the other side, just another image. This image may have these, I'm not sure what this is, some kind of holly or I don't know, with the red berries, I'm not sure. I think it came out of the Wreaths and Sprigs bundle. That had a lot of pretty green winter looking things in there. My splurge here for real trim is just some rickrack because it's flat. This pretty snow lady, she is off of just the regular Graphics Fairy site. These pine with the pine cones, winter greenery. And again, I printed the images. I wasn't sure what I was going to use where, so I printed them out in multiple sizes. And some of these I've used, multiple times throughout the book. That doesn't bother me. I've got another one of my monthly journaling cards. I made like a belly band here with a piece of ribbon, but the ribbon didn't thrill me, so I just put some fussy cut pinecone branches on there, and this slides right underneath. This right here is from the Heritage Wallpaper Bundle. I've used so many images from that bundle over and over. They're lovely because depending on what size you print them, you get a totally different look each time. So made another just a little pocket where I can slip things in. I thought this was really cute. This was, I think, off of Winterbirds. And again, another journaling card. This is a little dark, so it may be hard to journal. Again, if I don't end up using a photo, I can go ahead and very thinly gesso that and write on that. This tag, this pocket, is actually made from 2 tags. I just, I glued them here. Left the top open so things slide in and out. Just use an image. More of these bird eggs. The eggs were kind of intriguing. Again, more machine stitching. This is another one of those real cute images with the, I don't know, they're like little journals. They would actually make really cute journals. I should have thought about that. It's not too late. I can always print more. That's the beauty of the access to the premium member site. I can print to my heart's content, and when I change my mind, I don't throw them away. I just save them for another project and grab my computer and my printer again and print away. Back's got a cute bird on there, and this is probably one of my favorite images in this entire project. I absolutely love that. I think it's beautiful. Probably would have been great in my December daily, but there's always next year. Actually, that'd be really pretty, and put a lot of, I don't know, different colored sequins to look like Christmas ornaments. Ooh, now I'm already thinking about next year. And another quote again, of course. And that's about it. I put one last quote on the very back. And here you can see how I went ahead and did my stitching. Again, nothing fancy. It's already pretty thick. When I print, I think I am probably going to print my photos actually onto copy paper. I don't know that I'm gonna want the thickness of that many layers of photo paper. I don't know. Kind of have to see how that works. If all else fails, I can always snip these threads, take this journal apart, and make some additions so it will allow this to be thicker. But I think this is going to be fine. I'm glad you stopped by to see what I was working on. Come by every week because on the Graphics Fairy site, they've got some fantastic designers. They're always making something wonderful. Again, check out the premium member site. You'll always find something to play with there. Anyway, thanks for stopping. Go make something amazing today. Bye.